Hi, welcome to the R2RB Indie Artist Podcast. And today I have with me Alan and Shawn of Brother Dynamite. Thank you so much for joining me. How are you both?
Doing great. Thanks for having us, Deb. Great to talk to you.
Great to be here, Deb. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. And I always like to ask two questions to get us started. What is your favorite app on your phone and why?
Sure. Favorite app on the phone. I have two. One is Shazam, because you always want to know what is that song they're playing in the restaurant or the supermarket or whatever. The other is the voice memos app. As a songwriter, it's invaluable, and can't live without it, as I'm sure Shawn and every other songwriter out there with an iPhone will attest.
I bet. Shawn, what about you?
I'll have to echo Alan's answers, except I would go in the order of the voice memos app, which I always say had to have been created by a songwriter.
Had to be.
I would bet good money that whoever designed that app was a songwriter, because they had to have done that. But my second choice would definitely be Shazam, because I use it quite a bit.
I do too. I mean, I not that you're supposed to be using your apps while you're driving, but I've been known to push the button and like, what's that
We
song?
won't tell.
Yeah, don't
we won't tell.
Okay, good. All right. If you could collaborate with anyone, who would it be?
I'll let you take that one, Shawn.
Living or dead or both?
Either or both.
Let's see. Al, you want to take this one? I want to think.
Sure. I would love to collaborate with Freddie Mercury. I'm a huge Queen fan. He's just the best. That would just be spectacularly incredible to collaborate with him.
Wow, I like that one.
Collaborate with me and collaborate with Freddie Mercury.
There you go.
That's right.
That's definitely a better choice.
I think she's talking about if it was somebody other than you.
Of course.
I already get to collaborate with you.
Right.
So.
If it can't be me, but the first band I thought of when you asked that, Deb, was In Excess.
Really?
Yeah. Love to have been able to, write with them or sing with them or anything.
Yeah, I mean, we really had some great ones way back when. Oh my God, absolutely. I would go with the two that you have mentioned as well. All right, so where did Brother Dynamite start? You guys have known each other now since high school or elementary?
High school.
Yeah. So just a few years ago.
A few years ago. Yeah, about 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah. It's been a few decades, not a few years. Yeah.
So were you best friends in school, playing in a band together at that point?
We were introduced, the short version is we were introduced by a mutual friend, and that person reached out to our good friend Joe Orlando, who put together our first band. And I remember Joe and Alan pulling up to my parents' house, when I was 16 years old, to say, hey, we're going to go jam at this guy TJ's house, and TJ Quattrone was still is a friend of Alan's and Joe's, and TJ was in a seminal punk band called Rule of Thumb. They picked me up and said, all right, let's go play. And Joe, I'll never forget this. Joe said, Al, this is Shawn. He's going to be the drummer. And I said, hey, how you doing? Good to meet you. And that was it. So there was never a chance for us to become friends and then sort of, graduate to be
the graduation of
it. It was like, okay.
We just piled his stuff into Joe's, I think it was a Grand Fury, big old gas guzzling clunker, all hopped in the front seat and off to TJ's we went. And it was like, okay, how you doing, Shawn? Nice to meet you. And that was it.
Yeah.
That was it. And you've been together since then. Have you ever been apart, or you've always been doing music together?
We've always been doing music. There was a brief period where we were kind of in other projects, but basically we've always been making music since then.
And so do you both come from families that were musicians, music artists of any type?
No, not me anyway. No. Not at all.
No.
I mean, my dad played the spoons, but and a little harmonica, but no, that's about it.
I shouldn't laugh because my grandmother could actually play a mean spoon to a tune. My grandmother was Irish, and she also was self-taught on harmonica. And the lady could sing, play those spoons, beautiful.
That's impressive. Not enough spoons players around these days. We need more of them.
Lost art.
My mom wanted me to take an instrument, and she thought originally the trumpet, but I had two friends in 7th, 8th grade that were really into guitar. They played guitar. They were really into this band that I didn't know called Van Halen. That was like, I said to my mom, how about if I played guitar? Because my two friends play guitar. And she said, okay, that's fine. So that started my path on guitar. I wasn't listening to rock music at all. I listened to the stuff my mom listened to, which was Frank Sinatra, Tony Bennett, things of that ilk. She was listening to a radio station in New York at the time that played all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So I didn't know these bands. It was my two friends that turned me on to this band called Van Halen, which was just like, wow, that's cool. I think I like that.
Right.
And off I went on my rock and roll journey, and that was it. But I got into it very, very late. I didn't start playing guitar until I was right after I graduated grammar school, so I was 14.
Are you self-taught, or did you take lessons for the guitar?
I took lessons. She got me the guitar, and oddly enough, I still have the same acoustic guitar with the same 6 strings on it. I never broke a string on that guitar.
Oh my God.
It's ridiculous. Wow. No, I took lessons for many years. The teacher mostly would say, "What do you want to learn this week?" And I'd name another Van Halen song. You'd write it out, and I would go home and learn it. I didn't really have a lot of theory background or things like that. It was
at that point, yeah,
that kind of a lesson. Yeah, it was a kid that was probably like 2 years older than me teaching me. Yeah,
there you go.
Here's an A chord. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah. What else do you need?
Mostly, I got it from guitar magazines, which had transcriptions of songs in them, which were invaluable.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
And they had their own system of notation instead of formal music notation. They had a thing called tablature, which showed you the string and the fret that the note would be played on.
Yeah.
And that I learned, that's how I learned everything.
Wow.
So that was invaluable. So I'm really grateful to those guitar magazines, which I still have piles of in my house.
There you go.
Yeah.
I like it. What about you, Shawn?
Yeah, I started out, I took acoustic guitar lessons when I was 10 or 11, but I was too young, I think, to appreciate it. But I learned, all the basic campfire chords that I still use. So, that was the beginning. But then I got serious with music lessons when I was 15. I started taking drum lessons from a jazz drummer who was a friend of my mom's. When Al and I got into our first band and subsequent bands, we just had this revolving door of singers. One day, a buddy of mine said, why don't you try singing? And I thought, okay, why not? Because Alan and I were writing all the songs anyway.
Oh, wow. Oh, so you guys started young with writing.
We were always into writing songs.
Wow.
We were really always into it. I mean, as soon as we had gotten the band thing going a little bit, learned some cover songs, and had done a couple of gigs, we really gravitated to writing very, very quickly.
Okay.
And very early in our musical relationship. Yeah, It's been something that we've always sort of had an interest in.
Oh, that's cool. Very cool.
Our very first gig when gosh, I was 16. The very first gig we did an original. It is song as part of the set. Alan, the other guys wrote, the guys who could actually play real instruments. Like, I don't mean that. No. The guys, but the other guys wrote the song, but from right from the jump, we were
the two of you just collaborated on that.
Let's bring our own stuff out.
That's so cool, and to be able to start, back when you did, and all the way, that you're still doing it together now. Because I mean, that doesn't always happen. That you continue to be, friends and writing together and still liking each other.
Yeah, that is the best part of this whole experience for me.
Yeah, that is,
we're
so cool.
You summed it up perfectly. I mean, we're best friends, we're musical partners, and it's been a great ride.
That is awesome,
and we're still enjoying it.
You certainly are, and you just have a new release, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. That is really fantastic. Shawn, I know I kind of cut you off. Did you want to add anything else onto that with your vocals? You were doing guitar. Do you play the drums?
Yeah, well, yeah. The drums are my first instrument, but I figured if I'm going to be the only thing I was going to add to that is, when I became the singer, I said, okay, singer and rhythm guitar player. I said, okay, I need to go learn how to do this properly. Like I don't want to sing amateurishly. I really want to learn the craft. And so I took lessons for 2.5 years from the lead singer of an all-female heavy metal band called Misdemeanor.
Best
And
way.
she was amazing, and
There you
and
go.
her name's Jackie, and she was incredible. So if you hear this,
Oh,
Jackie, somewhere, thank you. You know, I trained with her for a long time and learned how to do it, and I've been
that's
able
great.
to preserve
Wow.
my voice, you know, after all these
Wow.
years. Thank goodness.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that is one of the biggest things you want to do. So, all right, so you get through high school, you're in the bands together, and then do you go off to college or you continue with music full time?
We both actually ended up going to the same college right here locally. So we didn't like separate, move away, or anything like that. So a lot of our college years were spent with the band and forming bands and gigging and things like that, writing songs, all of that. So that was a big part of that too, because we had started this musical journey sort of at the tail end of my high school career. I was a year ahead of Shawn. So we were doing music all through college and everything. Post college, starting to work and everything like that, we still kept it going. And we were, we had some years where we were doing a lot of different bands. We would drive down to Philadelphia from New York City on a Monday night, go play an open mic and get back at 3 in the
Oh my
morning and get up and go to the city, the next morning for work. So yeah, we did all that stuff. We did all that stuff.
The days that we could be able to do that, to stay up all night, get an hour, 2 hours of sleep, and be able to function the next day.
Right. Yeah. And now you realize I can't really do that. And you get a little smarter and think, I don't really know if that's really worth it.
Right? It wasn't the time, maybe.
What am I gonna get out of playing for those 8 people at that place on a Monday night?
Well, we didn't know it was going to be in front of 80 people.
Right. Not at that
Right.
time.
Yeah.
No.
Some of them were good. Some of them turned out to be, a little like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. Yeah.
But it's
You
all,
never know.
it's all part of your development.
It's the journey.
As
It's your journey.
as a writer and as a performer.
Absolutely.
Every one of those steps is another step in honing your craft.
And every artist goes through those steps.
Right.
The longer you're on that journey, you're going to go through every one of those steps.
Right. It's that fortitude that keeps you, that you need to have to continue on to the success that you both have had.
I think the reason that we continue on this journey is not because we're seeking the affirmation from other people. It's because it's what we love to do.
Right.
What Shawn and I love to do. So if we were simply doing it for the affirmation, good chance, maybe we wouldn't be doing this stuff, because you can't bank on it all the time. But because we love to do it, that's why we still continue it.
Yeah.
We write the songs and make the records that we wish, other people were making.
Right.
We enjoy, that entire process.
And it comes through your music. I mean, and also your little blurb, rock and roll, you make rock and roll fun again.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for picking up on that.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, but it's true. I mean, if you're, listening to your music and following you guys, I mean, that's what you get out of that music. So what you put into it, it's coming out loud and clear. So kudos to the both of you. All right. So we got into college. You're out of college. You both are working full-time jobs, doing your gigging and recording. And then about when does Brother Dynamite become a thing?
I want to say correct me if I'm wrong on this, Alan. I think that was probably around 2011.
Yeah, it was around there. The band situation, the full band situation, the wheels started falling off because our drummer wanted to go join this other band. Our bass player got a job out in California, I think it was. So we lost the bass player. By the way, bass players are the hardest musicians to find. So anybody who's out there wondering, I want to take an instrument, what should I learn? Learn the bass.
Learn the bass.
Never be without a gig.
Really?
Write your own ticket.
We have been struggling to find bass players throughout our entire journey. So learn the bass. But so it just got to be challenging with getting 4 people's schedules on the same page. We gravitated towards this duo thing of Shawn and me. It just became something that was easier. And we started this acoustic duo process, and which at first was, you would think it would be easier, but it was a big challenge because we were used to having the loud drums and the guitars and the vocals and the bass and everything else, and there was just the two of us sitting there with 2 acoustic guitars and 2 microphones, and that's a very different animal. And the first time we ever did that, we walked off stage and we were like, wow, we were not that good.
Oh no.
Yeah, I was good.
We were really
you weren't that. I was good. You weren't that.
Well, Shawn was always good, but I weighed us down. But it
go
was
dragging me down.
yeah. It was very different, though. It was
No,
a
he's right
very
though.
different experience.
It was terrible.
Had to be different.
The
Yeah.
first time and just go because you live and die by that unfiltered talent. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you go out and you can, just sing and play under one white light bulb,
That's
You're
it.
doing something.
Yeah.
You're somebody. You
Yeah.
can do it. It was a very intimidating, but to Alan's point, yes, it was a little intimidating at first, but then over time as we got more relaxed with it and got more acquainted with playing and performing that way and singing that way, it became a lot more freeing because there's a lot more spontaneity that can go into it now. If somebody yells out, "Hey, play such and such," like we'll give it a shot. Whereas with a full band, it's like extremely difficult.
Have somebody throw
to pull
something
that
at you and
off.
play.
Right. Or there's songs, there's like a song that we can be doing and like it's a cover song. A lot of times we're playing in bars, you're playing cover songs. And we can just get to like the midsection and we'll just start jamming on it, just taking it in a different direction. Then we rein it back in and then we take it back to the song and finish the song. So yeah, we can we know like where
You
each
know
other's
each other.
going. Yeah.
I had a question about your first time when you were performing as a duo and you didn't feel like you had done well. Did you get feedback from the audience or is that really
I
just
think
what
so.
you
The audience liked it. The audience.
I think they liked it. Yeah.
To be honest, I don't think the audience, like it's not like we went up there and screwed the pooch in front of a room full of people. We have friends that would have told us if we were bad.
Yeah.
we went up and played and just we have ridiculously high standards like for ourselves, in our performance. So if we were rehearsing earlier that week and we felt good about it, and you go out and if you make one mistake, you really can't get too hard on yourself. But because at that time it was new, I think we were a little tougher on ourselves than we would normally be. Right?
No,
is that fair? Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I would say so. And now we're very comfortable in that format to the point where we haven't played electric in a long time. It's really been this acoustic duo thing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. But on our recordings, it's full band, electric guitars, drums, the whole thing.
Right. Yeah. Because I think we are our own worst enemies, and usually the feedback is always positive, but we're always the hardest on ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, and where you've gone wrong more than anyone else in the audience would know.
That's right.
Right.
So let's talk about your music, and let's start with that album, If We Dare, which was back in 2020.
22.
It was 22. Okay. I have so many numbers on my page here. Okay. 2022.
Yep.
If We Dare. And looking at that cover of that album, I, was looking on who the artist was, and his name is Hugh Sim. Sim? Is that right?
Simon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So tell us about the album, the project, how long you were working on it before it was released, the artist of the front of that album. Is it available on vinyl?
No, it's not available on vinyl. And it's actually, we did make physical CDs, which you can get on our Bandcamp page.
Okay.
Hugh Syme, who you mentioned, did the cover art. Hugh is mostly known for he did pretty much every piece of graphic design that the band Rush ever put out. And he's still working with them on their re-releases, reissues, and stuff like that. So he's done a tremendous amount of work with Rush. He's done Joe Bonamassa, Dream Theater, Bon Jovi, Kiss.
He's got a list.
So many. I mean, almost everybody you can think of.
Right.
Yeah, Aerosmith. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, now, how'd you get hooked up with him?
It was funny because we started working on this album during the pandemic when everybody was at home. On a lark, I just thought, you know what? I wonder if I could get in touch with Hugh Syme. I found an email address for him, sent him a note, said, we would love for you to consider working with us on this album that we're working on. And he actually replied after a conversation. He wanted to know, like, what's the title? What kind of music is it? Can you send me some demos? He wanted to suss us out and make sure that it was, going to be something that he was not going to be afraid to put his name on. And he agreed to do it. We were just beyond joyed that he got involved with the project. He mocked up a few different covers for us, but the cover that we ended up using, as soon as we saw that image, both of us said, oh man, that's it. It was just so, it was so arresting, the image. Yeah. It's, for those listening, it's the nose it's a blue sky with the nose of a jet airliner on the right side, poking through the right side of the image, and a skydiver center image looking like he's either about to hit the jetliner or the jetliner's about to hit him. It was all off of the title If We Dare, which is the name of the album. It just sort of evoked these kind of daring images, and everything that Hugh does is evocative in that matter. It really makes you think, like, what's going on here? Wow. Yeah. The CD that we sell on Bandcamp has additional artwork that Hugh created for us that you can get if you get the whole CD. There's a lot of other really cool artwork, all with that daring theme.
Yeah.
But it was a pleasure to work with him on that. He was great. He's just a great guy.
Did you ever think that he would respond to your email?
Not really. Not really. I was pretty surprised when he responded. Yeah.
He's a talent in another stratosphere. You know, you think like, oh, you know, it's like your dream designer,
right?
To come and you know, and work on your album cover. You know,
I mean, you don't expect somebody like that to cross your path in that kind of way. But, you know, the old lesson is the squeaky wheel gets the grease, or you don't ask, you don't get.
As fate would have it.
You guys got it. Absolutely. And so here you are with this amazing cover for If We Dare. How did that all come together? So were these songs that had been already written?
Well, we're always writing, you know, that we constantly have this backlog of song ideas. Usually how an album ends up taking shape is we get to the point where we have, say, you know, anywhere from like 12 to 14, 15 ideas that we know that we love, that we say, all right, we know we want to, and we make a list and go, okay, well, we know we want to do this song, this song, this song. That's usually like how an album project starts rolling, working at the logistics of like, okay, what did we record first? Once we had our home studio up and running, you know, we had the flexibility to just work, you know, whenever we wished and be able to do everything at home and save a ton of money in recording expenses because we weren't looking at the clock.
Definitely a learning curve, learning how to use all that gear, how to use Pro Tools, how to manipulate it the way we wanted to, the way a professional engineer would do. So it was definitely a learning curve, but we weren't in a rush where we didn't have a deadline to get this album out. It was sort of like, we're doing these songs. We know we're going to release them eventually. It took longer than we would like to release, and the pandemic probably slowed us down a little bit naturally. But we got to the point where we can utilize the equipment. You know, we can record at our whim, which is great. Yeah, with live drums and everything. Yeah.
Wow. And how many songs are on? How many songs are on that album?
There's 12. Yeah, 12 original songs. Yeah, we wrote them all.
Okay.
Bill Donnelly, who we've worked with, you know, for ages, you know, who's always been our you know, producer and engineer. He was instrumental in helping us get the live drums up to speed at home to be able to record those, you know, in Alan's.
That was the biggest challenge.
That was the key to everything, because once you can, I mean, you don't even have to do live drums anymore, but we do, because we would, you know, in most cases we would prefer to. So once we got that up and rolling, that was sort of the fulcrum for all of it. The rest of it followed after that.
Who laid out the sequence of songs on the album?
That was Shawn. Shawn makes up our set lists, and he made out the track listing for the album. Yeah, I let him do it, and I said, "This is right in your wheelhouse. You do it," and I didn't ask to change anything. He presented the 12 songs. I said, "That's great. Let's do it."
Yeah, because I don't think everybody's. Yeah, I don't think everybody's aware that there's a process for that. The way you, you know, lay those tracks down and where they fall on the album. So wow.
Oh, sure. Yeah, a good running order makes an album. You know, and conversely, you know,
you kill it.
A subsequent, it can ruin it. Yeah, absolutely.
Great job. Wow. All right. So last year, 2024. Can't believe we're 2025. Oh my gosh. You had 3 singles.
We did.
You did.
Yeah,
Yep. Let me tell them what they are. It's my turn. Remastered. It's Christmas time. All right. The Girls in Love. What are you waiting for? 3 awesome songs. Oh my gosh.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. 2022 was the album. 2 years and then 3 singles out in 2024.
Yeah, we kind of thought that we weren't looking to make another album. We have songs. We have plenty of songs, but an album takes a long time, and you put 12 songs out there in an album format, and 2 or 3 sort of get pushed out there as singles. They get some attention, and the other songs kind of fall by the wayside to some degree.
Yeah.
So we decided, both of us, that let's do singles, and each track can have its own spotlight. So that was sort of the impetus behind starting to release singles last year.
Is that your first Christmas song that you had recorded?
Yeah, we had recorded that actually a few years ago. With modern technology and streaming and all of that, when you take an old recording and you put it out again, you remaster it, get a chance to sort of polish it up, make it sound even better. So we thought, after the first 2 singles, and we gotten some attention from those, we thought it'd be a great opportunity to sort of let's get that Christmas song out there again and show people that side of us as well.
Yeah, that was great. It was a great way to end of the year. Absolutely. And The Girls in Love, when did that come out?
That was
December.
Yeah, it was about fall. Yeah.
That was fall.
Summer, early fall.
And What Are You Waiting For? It came out in
May.
That was May. So you had your spring, your fall, and your winter.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. It's nice being able to control our own release schedule.
Right. It is. And is that one of the things, because I'm sure there's so many things that you like, aspects of being an indie artist, is that one of like your top things, being able to control and decide when, where, how, what you're going to do, when you're going to release it, being an indie artist versus being on a label?
Yeah. Listen, we have no, we have no problem with, being a signed artist. If somebody's interested and they come to us with the right terms and the right, the right stacks of cash. Yes, absolutely. But for the time being, yeah, I mean, it gives you an enormous amount of creative freedom to, decide, what songs are going to come out next and what you're going to record next. And, like this year, we have, a bunch of, really, really strong new songs in the pipeline, that we're really excited about, getting out this year. So
yeah.
It's, it's so exciting to be, and you can come up with a brand new song and go, okay, this smokes. Let's finish recording this and we'll make this the next single. That's another advantage of putting out one song at a time, because each one, to Alan's point, gets its chance to breathe, gets a chance to catch on, before we even put the next one out.
And then you can pick up that momentum. So before, you can have that span in between. So you can market the one song, give it all its glory, and really market it to the best that you're able to before the next single comes out. So, I like it that way. I know there are other indie artists that will do one a month, there's nothing wrong with that. But I kind of like the space in between. And then you get excited and you're waiting for the next one to come out, because then we were all waiting for the new one for 2025, Radio Silence, right? January 30th, it came out. Oh my God. It just gets better and better and better.
Nice.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank you.
Yeah. So did you collaborate on the writing for this song?
Yeah, like all our songs, they're all collaborations. I mean, Shawn and I, for the most part, will write like the Beatles used to call it eyeball to eyeball, where we're sitting across each other with guitars, just basically looking right at each other and coming up with chords, coming up with music, coming up with lyrics. But yeah, this is Radio Silence. The new single is another collaboration. Shawn handled, I think, pretty much all the lyrics on that, and actually came up with the intro riff that got the whole thing kicking off.
Which is rare. Which believe me,
really
is not our normal. Because Alan's, listen, I know my role. As a guitar player, I know my role in this band, and it is to support Alan in every way I can. But like coming up with the riff for this, I was like, yeah, what do you think? And he was like, yeah, great.
Oh my God, absolutely.
And I could hear exactly where the song was wanting to go. When he played that riff, I was like, I could totally picture where the song was going.
Oh my God.
And it didn't take us very long to write it, from what I remember.
Yeah, we had it.
Yeah, but it's a rocker. It's definitely a rocker.
It is. And that beginning, that intro, whoa.
And our friend Lou Iacobelli, who drums on pretty much everything that we do, with the exception of a couple of songs that Shawn drums on. He does a fantastic job drumming on this track. He's really something special, and
yes, absolutely.
he has a special quality to it.
Yeah. I happen to like a good drummer, and definitely that was great song. So what a little background of that song though. Tell us what you were thinking, what you were talking about.
Despite the fact that perhaps we're maybe best known, as a indie power pop band with a lot of, radio ready stuff. We write for the song itself, right? So and as Alan said, the song tells you where it's going, right? And what it wants to say. And this was one of those cases where, we had something that was up tempo and heavier, and we both love that stuff anyway. So we just embraced it and said, okay, let's come up with a really strong, catchy sing-along chorus to sort of give it wings, because it needs that. Any song that we come out with, needs that. It needs the hook.
Right.
Because that's what what we want to hear.
Yeah.
Right? And it's funny because when we wrote the song, that chorus went through a couple of different iterations before we hit on, what ultimately came to be the final hook. And we recorded the whole song before we went in and wrote the lyrics and did the vocal.
Really?
Yeah. So we sort of did it in reverse. Like the whole song was written and ready to go. I mean, we had like the melody, but we didn't know exactly what it was going to be until the 11th hour. And we said, oh, okay. And we hit on it. And, you tried, different approaches. Bryan Adams said in an interview with American Songwriter magazine years ago, it was one of my favorite quotes. He gave this incredible advice. He said, don't be precious with your ideas. And we're not afraid to like take stuff apart and rewrite it and completely change the chorus or whatever, so that it, maximizes the impact of the song. And this was one of those, wrote the lyrics and wrote the chorus like last.
It's crazy.
But that's part of the craft of it. The initial burst of it is the inspiration part,
right?
And then the rest of it is the craft part of it.
Wow.
It's like having that block of marble, and you're taking your hammer and your chisel. You got to work at it before you get that statue. The initial bit, like I said, is the inspiration, but it takes a lot more than you have to go way beyond the inspiration to get that finished product that you're looking for.
And you certainly did that with Radio Silence. And you two are so fine-tuned to each other, like you almost become one, sounds like, when you're working together. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many other duos are, how their process is, but speaking with you two tonight, it's like you two, I mean, even in this conversation, you just kind of flow so nicely, because it doesn't always happen that way.
Oh, thank you. And, we take a lot of pride in our vocal interplay. We are really proud of the fact that our vocals sort of really complement each other. So even on that level, there is a sort of a symbiotic thing going on there. But yeah, thank you for noticing. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. One question that I'd like to ask is, what advice would you give a indie artist just starting out in the business? Besides become a bass player?
come up with a hook or something different that makes you unique as an artist, instead of being like two white dudes from Staten Island who never had anything weird about us. We'd lose in Battle of the Bands all the time because we weren't like two bald guys playing trumpets. They would right? Am I wrong?
That's a true story. That is a true story.
That's a true story. I would say, in all seriousness, I would say, don't be afraid to be authentic. Like if you have, for better or worse, if if you're authentic in your approach, in how you present yourself on stage, how you write songs, like, not everybody has to get it.
No.
Like you could carve out a niche
Yeah.
for yourself doing, just doing your own thing. My son is way into Frank Zappa. Right, my 15-year-old son is like way into Frank Zappa right now.
That's crazy.
Which is so awesome. And it just goes to show that, like, who's more unique than Zappa,
Oh
right?
my God.
Over how many decades, and it still resonates, with audiences. A
Absolutely.
niche audience, I'll grant you, you're not going to play that kind of music in a stadium.
Yeah.
Just do your own thing. Do your own thing, and just give it everything you have.
I like that. Yeah.
That's really true. Just be the best you that you can be. We don't need, another whoever, name an artist here. We already have them. Be the best you that you can be, and you'll find your audience.
Yeah.
And I think also, playing off of that, like, find your own sound. Don't try to play the guitar like Eddie Van Halen or the trumpet like Louis Armstrong. Find your own sound, something that when people hear you, they know it's you. Because that's probably the highest compliment that I think any musician would want to hear. Is as soon as you hear one note played by B.B. King, you know it's B.B. King.
Right.
So aim for that. Aim for that identifiable sound.
I like it. I like both of you. Like the advice, because the younger generation definitely need some advice.
When you hear our music, for better or worse, it sounds like us.
Yeah, it is you.
Right.
Like, we have our own sound. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
When you hear us, it's us.
It's that rock and roll is fun again.
Our influences I like to think, are pretty obvious. When you get into the DNA of it, right? We don't sound like,
no, you sound like you,
somebody else, and you go through those phases of your
Sure.
own, right now, of your own development, where you first emulate your favorite singers or your favorite drummers or your favorite guitar players, and then after a while, hopefully, you sort of
You have to shed that.
Yes.
that skin, right?
Yes.
And develop your own approach and your own sound.
And it takes time. It takes time. I know the younger artists or whomever's coming into being an indie artist at this time. I know that it's a very frustrating business these days at present, with all that goes on with streaming and numbers and what have you. And they just have to just keep going. Don't quit. Don't give up. Maybe take a step back if you need to. But, you guys didn't get to where you were overnight.
And to love it,
Yeah.
Embrace the love of playing, and just do it, and if you're young and you're playing an instrument, like, the best way to get better is to get into a band.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Bring your bass. You're good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Be a bass player.
It keeps coming back to that, but yeah.
All right.
You have to love it. That's what keeps us going, and that's what'll keep anybody going.
Absolutely.
Do it for the love of it first.
That's right.
Before anything.
We love doing it. At the risk of sounding how it's going to sound, I think that shows.
Absolutely. So what's coming up in 2025? You've got some new things you're working on to release. Anything you can talk about, dates or anything?
We have a lyric video that's coming out for Radio Silence very soon. So that'll be out soon. We've got a couple of more singles that are in the works right now that'll carry us probably into the summer.
Cool.
And we're currently recording other music. So we've got singles that'll be coming out over the course of the rest of the year and beyond, actually.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Lots of new music in the pipeline. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Very
it's all
cool.
different too. It's all different kinds of songs too.
Oh, cool. And you also do live gigs up there in Staten Island.
Correct. Yeah. Yes, we do. Yeah. So we'll be doing some shows. You can catch the dates and everything on our Facebook page or Instagram.
And where can they find you? What's your handles on Facebook and Instagram?
Instagram is Brother Dynamite Music, and Facebook is just Brother Dynamite.
Just Brother Dynamite. Yeah.
All right, cool. Awesome. You guys are so great. Thank you so much. I really enjoy speaking with you. We've had a few conversations before tonight, but thank you so much for doing the interview and sharing your journey with everybody. Is there anything you'd like to share that I haven't touched on, you guys haven't touched on, I haven't asked?
No, thank you. It's such a wonderful opportunity to get to
Thank
get to
you.
come on and, talk with you about what we do and hopefully get more
And what we
people
love.
to do it.
Good. Cool. Very, very
Yeah,
cool.
we appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you both, Shawn and Alan, Brother Dynamite. Please go check them out on their Facebook, Instagram. You can find them on Bandcamp, where you can purchase their singles and the album. Oh, are you working on another album?
Right now we're doing singles,
Just singles.
but
Okay.
we're not ruling it out.
Okay.
We never
All right.
rule it out.
Stay tuned. All right, guys. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Deb.
Thanks, Deb.